Beautiful. Oh, no. Hey, everybody, it's Andy. Welcome to Live Office Hours. I just lost my screen. Give me a second. Oh, yeah. There we go. How are you? It's Thursday. It's noon Eastern, 11 Central, 10 Mountain, 9 Pacific. It's Andy helping you build a career you love. Great to have everybody this week. Got something a little special for you. I want to welcome you all. I love having you. I can see the chat's rolling already. I want to say hello in a second, but I want to run through a few housekeeping things. I want to thank all of you who joined my job search masterclass last week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It was a ton of fun, nearly 5.5 hours of lessons and Q&A and all that good stuff. There's about 2 hours of instruction. I got so many questions from people throughout the week. I got everything from, hey, I have questions, to will you please leave it up longer on YouTube? I know you said you were going to take it down on the 19th. I'm going to fill you in on all that. And today, I want to give you a minute. I'm going to do just a little warm opening here, but I slave over these things for you. Grab the workbook. Take this 11, I guess it's about 9 pages of content. Take this workbook. There's no hidden cells. There's no nothing. I gave it all to you, all my notes from the Job Search Masterclass program. And if you have not had a chance to watch it, I highly recommend that you do so. But today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I actually wanted to do kind of like a Reader's Digest recap, maybe kind of like after the show kind of thing. I know a lot of you have gone through it. And I wanna serve it up to you again in a more compressed amount of time. I'll pull out a lot of the science and rationalizations, all that things out of it. We'll go right through the steps that I want you to take. We'll reinforce it. So grab the workbook, buckle up. The other thing too, just a couple other housekeeping items. If you have not gotten the Interview Intervention book yet, it's 29 bucks. I bought it for you. I will ship it anywhere in the world. It's free. The ebook's free, the audiobook's free, the How to Interview the Employer 75 Great Questions to Ask Before You Take Any Job is free. All I ask is you pay $7 to help me support my ability to pick, pack, and ship it to you. So get that. Between the Masterclass free program and that, you should be in pretty good shape. Let me see, what else? Oh, the Masterclass. I'm going to leave it up on YouTube a little bit longer. I am going to take it down probably in the next week or so, but I want to give you a chance, especially because we're going to do this Reader's Digest version today. I want to leave it up for people who have not had a chance to see it or go back and rewatch some of it. Now that you have the workbook, it's going to be so much easier to follow along. I think it'll make a lot more sense if you see it again. If you haven't seen it the first time, great. But if you have, maybe kind of breeze through, the first half hour each of those sessions. I think you'll love it. And I have a live job search boot camp starting tomorrow. I know a lot of you that are on my email list have probably we've been having the conversation. I like to call it having the conversation with you because I slave over those emails I send you to share my story, the students' story, why I'm here, how you found me, why you found me, the reason I'm dedicating my life to helping you, and all that good stuff. But I want to show you a few minutes on the boot camp. I have a little surprise if you want to hang in there with me, and then we'll do an hour of Q&A and all that good stuff. So I hope you're as excited about this as I am. But I'm gonna refer to this quite a bit today. I wanted to I wanted to do something nice for you. I always think that it's important that you have some kind of ability to take notes and all that good stuff. But let's roll through this. Today's session is about the 3 factors that are going to make or break your job search. That's what the whole masterclass was about. It was about making sure that you find the right job. We want you to find it right, kind of no matter how long it takes. But we want you to find the right job. But finding it faster, second point, your ability to find it with some speed, that's way better. Sooner is better. And the third thing is, when you've got that fish on the line, so to speak, when you've got that employer and you're interviewing, because we know interviews are tough to get, you want to make sure that you secure it. So I want to give you that one major tip, or really a way to think about how you approach the entire interview so that you can secure it. So that's what today's going to be about. I'm going to breeze through stuff pretty quickly. Don't worry, like I said, there's a lot more detail in the Job Search Masterclass. But the first thing that we want to talk about in making sure that you get the right job for yourself, there's a lot to do with finding that job, right? You got to be able to surface it. But the most important thing, and I actually call this with my one-on-one coaching clients, I said, we need to work on your defense first. So many people want to work on the resume, they want to work on their cover letters, they think they need an offense, they've got to go out and get those interviews. But if you think about it, wouldn't it be better if no matter how you surfaced the opportunity, or no matter when the opportunity came along, or even if you were just moseying along, happy in your life, happy in your job, an opportunity came along, that you would be ready to properly evaluate it, that you would be able to properly evaluate it and make sure that you could make a good decision, that it would be smart to invest your time and energy in evaluating that, or knowing which opportunities to target. So I talked about being able to develop your needs. This was the number one thing. If I could only give you one piece of advice, literally, if you just said, Andy, what's your number one piece of advice to job seekers and career developers and just people who want to maximize their career? If you understand what that environment looks like that you thrive in, that means based on your strengths, based on the things that make you happy, based on the accommodations you need in your life at this moment, whatever that might be. If you can set up that right kind of, what we call it, a virtual environment for yourself, you will thrive. It's what will help you be happy day in and day out, but it's also what will help you weather the storm and all the challenges. So the concept of developing your list of needs, as I mentioned in the Job Search Masterclass, that isn't rocket science. It's not the actual knowing that you need to put the list together that's the science. It's building it correctly and using it correctly. And we talked about why do a lot of people fail at this? Well, one of the things they're not able to do is they don't have a list that's lengthy enough, these requirements, to know whether they are a good match for something. Think about this. And I might have said it differently last week, but the longer the list you have, some people say to me, oh, Andy, well, if I give you too many requirements and I ask for too many things, isn't that going to limit the number of opportunities that are available to me in the market? A lot of people think that way. They think in terms of limits. The simple fact of the matter is, no. The longer your list, don't think of it in terms of siphoning off opportunities or eliminating them. Think of it in terms of, I have a lengthy list, a good inventory of criteria that I know I need to get insight about. And we talked about the two things that you need to know. You need to know what makes you happy, and you need to know whether an employer can satisfy it. The longer the list of your requirements, the more certain you can be a match for the opportunity, or that the opportunity's a match for you. And for those areas where the employer has a gap, at least now you know what that gap is, and you can evaluate that in your evaluation and in your determination and in your choice to know, is that an acceptable gap? How might I cover that gap? If you don't have, if you're really big on having mentors in your life, but you haven't noticed anybody in the interviewing process that was going to serve as a great mentor, your boss might just not be that type of person. Is that something you could get outside of work? These are the kind of things that you should be thinking about as you go through it. Now, we talked about why people are not successful. We talked about not doing the deep work. So when I referred to not doing the deep work, you probably see this in your workbook. When I talk about not doing the deep work, I'm talking about not taking the time to actually go through this exercise and really push themselves to identify what it is they need. Most of the individuals that I've interviewed in my life, I talked about interviewing 15,000 people. It's true. Speaking with these people, asking them what drives them, what's important to them, what happens for most people is they very quickly can do two things. They can identify the real biggies, like, you know, as a salesperson, I need a good company, a good product, and a good payday. And beyond that, it's kind of gravy, and that's not true. Or what they do is they highlight things that are very painful for them. I talked about recency. Things that are painful, they're on the top of your mind. They're front, they're center, they're on the top of the mind. You need me to remove something that's an obstacle that's in your way, or you need to add something that's missing. That's pain points. People put tremendous weight on their pain points. So a lot of times people will either hit a few and get fatigued, or they will hit their pain points and get fatigued. So you got to do the deep work. Make sure you're going through that. It's okay to identify your pain points. I want you to do that. I just don't want you to do that at the expense of all the other things that you need, all the other criteria and luxuries you've enjoyed throughout your career. A lot of times we take those for granted. We think a new employer is just going to satisfy those. You don't want to do that. So you just want to be careful. You want to make sure you're also evaluating the right stuff. You're not evaluating symptoms, but you're evaluating your core needs. I'm not going to go too much into that. You can refer back to the masterclass for that. We talked about recency. And then this is a tough one. This is a tough one. Let's get this out on the table. Peeps, you just don't have the skills. That's not a knock on you, but think about how frequently you evaluate opportunities in the market. Even if you do it 10 times in your 40-year career, that's just not often. It's just not often. So how do we build you a tool, or really a kind of a safety net, so to speak, so that even though, despite the fact that you don't have those skills, you have an inventory you can use to start conversations in the form of questions you can ask the employers to determine if they can satisfy the things that are important to you. And even if you're not super skilled, where we really go south, where we really run amok, is not having the conversation. So a lot of times, if I'm working with you on a one-on-one basis, I can teach you how to follow the thread and how to do the line of questioning to make sure you're getting the evidence of what it is that you need. But if I'm not sitting there in your ear, at least if you have a requirement on your list that says, I need to have a conversation about this item, just ask and get them talking about it, and it's at least going to give you some information. It's where we completely miss having any kind of conversation that really, really hurts us. So here's what I want you to do, and then I'm going to show you that spreadsheet just so you can get kind of a visual of what I'm talking about. I want you to make a list of all your requirements, So just very simply make a list. Then what I want you to be mindful of is I want you to make it your list. You live with yourself every single day, all year long. Don't do it for somebody else. Make it yours. You're only lying to yourself if you start adding requirements that somebody told you needed, or if you don't think you need them, you don't need them, because this is about your happiness. And trust me, it's okay. We're all going to make mistakes. I'd rather you make your own mistakes, but make it your list. The other thing that I want you to do is I want you to make it more internal than external. This is kind of one step beyond. The your list is do it for yourself. Don't do it for somebody else. Don't do it because somebody else thinks you should do this or tells you you'll be great at this. Do it because you want to. Now, internally, I want these to be internal drivers instead of external drivers or futuristic drivers. Too many people make poor choices at the time of decision because they're worried about how it might look in the future, what might happen in the future, all kinds of crazy stuff. This company might buy that company. How will I know it might not. So I want you to focus on immediately what's going to happen, how you're going to feel, and are you going to love it? And don't get me wrong, I don't want you to completely ignore all the outer context, but I don't want you to try to predict the future. I just don't want you to try to predict the future. You're not good at it. I'm not good at it. And what's even worse, I don't think I said this last week, when people say, hey, Andy, what would you do? I want to tell you, I'm bad at predicting my future. I'm even worse at trying to project yours. So don't let anybody tell you this is what it's going to look like. This is what's going to happen. Go through it. Live your own life. Just make it internal. And then what I also want you to do is as you start to identify your requirements, just brainstorm them, put them out. But there's a little trick I like to use. I do this with my one-on-one coaching clients. Constantly ask yourself why you need that requirement. So you've got a requirement on your list. Why is that important to you? And if you can answer the question, Then make that new answer the requirement and keep going till you can't ask why anymore. That gets you down to your lowest level of need. The example I used before was the one about managing people. People think that's a requirement, and I explained that's a medium to satisfy. It's a how, it's not a what. The what is, I like to coach and mentor people. It makes me happy to impart my knowledge, all those good things. I understand that that's a service element. That's awesome. But the medium by which you do that can be many things. You can write white papers and teach people. You can speak and teach people. You can form groups. You can mentor your teammates. You can mentor your subordinates, your superiors, all that good stuff, people, your customers. So there's lots of ways that you can satiate that element to teach and serve. So that's what I'm talking about. If you check the masterclass, I go into that into more detail. And then to know you're on the right track, I want you to have about 20 of these. I want you to have about 20 of these. And for those of you that are watching this for the first time that did not see the masterclass, I know I get that you gotta be kidding me. Look, but I'm gonna give you 15 of them. So as a recruiter, and not even as a coach, but just as a recruiter, I've interviewed tens of thousands of people, 15,000 people, give or take. We've collected all the data from all of those people, broke it down into what it was they cared about, and I created 15, and I want to stress this, high-level categories that people generally care about. And I want you to know in the workbook, in your workbook on page 6, I don't know if you can see this, I listed out what those are. But I want to show this. I want to show this to you because I want you to, it's one thing to put these in a list. It's another thing to kind of understand conceptually how I want you to use them. So I'm going to switch over here really quick to a new screen. Bear with me here. And this is well, these are some hidden, so you're missing columns B and C and F and a bunch of these. But this is a spreadsheet that I give to my job search boot campers. And I've taken those 15 criteria that I just showed you or that are in the workbook. They're alphabetized in this spreadsheet. And the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to see that as you make your list is not just a list for you to kind of cart around. It's a list for you to use and leverage. So remember before I said the magic in creating this list, the magic in creating this list is about your ability to use it, refer back to it, make sure you're gathering the data against it and using it in the proper format. Now, on the left column, are, appreciation, atmosphere, autonomy, and so on. This thing goes down. But basically, in the workbook now, you have all that. Okay? So I gave you those 15. So at a minimum, you could just use the 15. Right? Make your own notes. But what I also like to do, I'm not going to go too much into detail here, but I like to rank them because I want, and here's kind of a good example for those of you that are not math gurus or don't understand the value of weighted averages, but it's basically a way of saying not all of your criteria is created equal. So, appreciation might matter to you greatly. Your boss might matter to you greatly. Comp might be really important because you got 4 kids and you got to send them to college. So some of these criteria are going to be more important than others. And so what you can do is you can actually weight them. So this is a 10, this is a 7, this is a 4, and so on. And you can do a little mathematical computation so that if you get in a situation where you've created your questions for the employers. If you're in the boot camp, I give you these questions to ask against all this criteria. But this is where you would put your questions, or you can put it in a Word document, or you could write it on a legal pad or a notepad or whatever. And then what I like to do is I tell everybody, hey, first thing you ought to do is you ought to take your own employer. Employer A is your current employer, and how would you assess your current situation? And for those of you who are not employed, how would you assess your last situation? So whether you got let go or you decided to leave, whatever it was, actually, mathematically, how happy were you? How happy were you? And this is, don't get me wrong, we're not, measuring it with a micrometer, marking it with chalk and cutting it with an axe. I'm trying to give you an idea of, hey, that's what, 670 points looks like. Okay, fine. So your old employer satisfied 12 of your 14 requirements, except they were missing on your 10s, on the hefty ones. But you might have this other employer that only satisfies 5 of your criteria, but they're hitting all your biggies, all the most important things to you. So as you start to line these up, everybody effectively can have 2 columns, right? My current employer, my potential employer, right? So we like to think you're going to be able to get a job with all these tools I'm giving you. Some of you might have, employer B, C, and D. Some of you might have, this is my current career. This is how I feel about what I do at the moment. I did this. By the way, I don't think I mentioned that, and that's probably a good thing for you to know. I did this on myself 2 times. In 2004 and in 2015. So, I literally had career A, career B. So, and this can be used for career changers. It's incredibly important for career changers. And you have to do some investigation along what is it that the career offers. So you got to put some elbow grease into your research, career changers. So, but these could be, career 1, career 2, employer 1, employer 2. And then as you go in and you interview with your new employer, you can rate them in each column against these different requirements. And here what I want to do, I actually want to switch over and I want to expand one of these items here. I think I did culture in the job search masterclass, so I've pulled this back. So what this looks like over in column A here, this is where all the kind of the high levels were listed. What I hid from you in that other spreadsheet was, and for the boot campers, they get this all blown out, but it's each of these rows is the secondary criteria. So culture in and of itself is a grouping, but when you evaluate culture, you don't just evaluate culture. How are you going to evaluate culture? It's not even a thing you can actually evaluate, right? If you can't lend some detail to what it is you're evaluating and you're doing it, listen, I'm all for gut feels, only when you use your gut in highly trained situations. Master chess players, master tennis players, master golfers, they understand gut because they've been through it, they've practiced it, they know what it looks like, they know what it smells like. A job seeker has got to give himself or herself a better tool to fall back on because your gut is not it's not highly trained in these situations. So what we're trying to do here is give you something that's going to help you make sure that you can do this a little more systematically. So, these are just examples of what secondary criteria could be, and this is just for culture, but this could go true for compensation. Compensation isn't just salary. It could be bonus. It could be sign-on bonus, it could be year-end bonus, it could be management by objective bonuses, it could be stock, it could be benefits, vacations, and so on. So culture, you got to break this down a little bit. Is it a political place, apolitical? Are they open and honest and, trustworthy? Are they fair? Is it fast-paced? And so on. Then what I did, and this is for the boot campers, but you could do this for yourself, these are not the questions that you would be asking your employer. These are the questions that you're giving yourself to understand how you're breaking this out. So when I say apolitical, what does that mean? And then what's the question that I ultimately need to ask to determine if it's a political environment, if there's going to be a lot of posturing, or if it's a fun and friendly place and everything is based on merit. So this is what I'm talking about. So you can break down your list into the lowest level of detail. Now, you don't have to use all 15 of these criteria or all 20 of these cultural components. The point I'm trying to make here is the more granular you can get, the safer your ability to make a good decision becomes. So this is a pretty cool tool. It comes in really handy, and what I really like with the boot campers is they could kind of go through it, and what a lot of them do is they line out the things that aren't important to them. You can do that with the 15 primary criteria that I gave you in the workbook. it's really nice for you to, at least have something to stimulate your interests. And at least this way, I'm giving you something to give you a great running start. And if you did nothing else other than use the 15 I gave you, you're likely going to be in better shape. You're likely going to be in better shape than when you made your last transition. So I wanted to just kind of drive that point home. Let me switch back to my face. Okay, so that's kind of session 1 of the masterclass. How we doing? 11:24. Okay, I'm gonna pick up the pace here a little bit. I'm guessing this part's probably gonna go an hour, but anyway, so that was kind of session 1. You gotta get your needs right, and you gotta be thoughtful and thorough, and you gotta put the time in. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing that we talked about in the masterclass is, well, okay, that's cool. Now I know how to evaluate it, or I know how to think through my options. How do I find it? How do I find it quickly? So this is about speed. I don't know where I put all this stuff. This is about speed. The main message about speed is, are you dialing up your effort in accordance with the activities that lead to success quickly? And those activities are not the same for each person. So back to all the people that I interviewed, it's very apparent from all the data that I gathered from them that your demographic greatly influences your ability to find your job. That there are probabilities and odds of you finding your job based on who you are, what you do, how much you earn, how old you are, where you live, the market you're working in, is it hot, is it cold, all that good stuff. So I broke all that down for you. So I want to go through this one in kind of two, three fell swoops. First thing is, I want to make you aware of some statistics that I've gathered. And the beautiful thing is, I'm going to show you what those stats are against the 6, what I consider to be the best activities that you can use to find your next job. Then I've included in the work plan, everybody who's downloaded this, the different work plans of how I would allocate my time are in here. So that's where we're going with this one. So let's run through and recap what those activities are really quick. So researching companies is a wonderful way. It doesn't matter if the company has an opening or not. What are the organizations that you want to target? Everybody's job search should be, I don't care who you are, I don't care how old you are, I don't care if you're 21 and a half or 69 and a half. Every job search should be driven by your company list, by your target company list. You join a company, you don't join a job. And if you join the right company, you don't have the job you joined for very long. And I mean that in a good way. You all that follow me, you know, I always say this. You get in the right company, the company is your oyster. I mean, there's tons of opportunities. They know how to elevate their people. They know how to create new roles. They know how to get you promoted, all that good stuff. So you want to get in a great environment. I'd rather be on a Super Bowl team kind of thing. So research the companies, make your targets. You can also search online. Okay, you can search online for published opportunities. That's another way to surface opportunities, even if you're a senior person. Even if you're a senior person, but how you search online, there needs to be some thought and care, because what you're really doing is you want to augment your target company list based on organizations who are hiring, even if they're not hiring for your role specifically. But searching online is another great way. Networking. Everybody needs a heavy dose of targeted networking. Let me repeat that. Targeted networking. That doesn't mean I lost my job. Oh no. Start calling all my friends, sitting down with them over coffee and beer and drinks and all that good stuff. It's about targeting where you want to go and figuring out how to map your network to get you there. But networking is a great one. Applying online. Okay, so any which way, whether you're sending your email directly to an employer who has an opportunity that's publicized or not, or you're applying through a job board or a corporate website or portal or a career portal or whatever, that's applying online. Volunteering is a phenomenal way if you do it right, and you're also, same thing with volunteering. Volunteering is awesome. I love everybody who volunteers, and everything that you do as a volunteer is good for the soul. But not everything you do as a volunteer is created equal as it relates to you finding your job. So targeted volunteering. And then last and very least, and I do mean least, working with third-party recruiters. They're not bad people. They just you have a very low probability of finding your job that way. So those are the 6 biggies. Now, there are tons of others, and there's lots of ways you can find your job. Those are the 6 biggies. So of all the people that we interviewed and all the people that we gathered data from and all the research that I do as a coach and a trainer and all that good stuff, those are the 6 biggies. Now, here's some interesting stats that I shared in the masterclass. I want to share them again. We talked about how your demographic greatly influences what it is that you should be focusing on, because not all of these activities are created equal depending on who you are. And I'm just talking, these are, folks, this is not my opinion. These are inarguable stats that I've collected. So I'm telling you what I found. I'm also telling you what I think, but these make sense. So let me share this. We discovered, of all those people that we interviewed, we would always ask them not only what do you need to be happy, to drive your happiness, right? So the needs, but how did you find the job you're currently in? How did you find the job that you were in before that? And so on. We usually go back about 3 jobs. And I'm just collecting data. I don't really care how they got there. I just want to know how they got there. Well, I broke down the people that we interviewed. We interviewed, you know, we have a high degree, I should say a high percentage of senior people. So everybody that earns many, many hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. But we've also placed people that earn less than 100, slightly more than 100, and all that good stuff. It's kind of all over the board. And we do a lot of different positions. So to categorize these and break them down for you, an easy way for you to think about this is if you're kind of a higher earner or an older worker, not old, just older, so call it 50, so 50 and older, or you earn more than $100,000. That's kind of the high bracket. You could be 30 and earn more than 100K. That's awesome. You're in the high bracket. If you are under 50, under 45, give or take, or you earn less than 100K, you're in the low bracket of what I'm going to show you here. So networking. So networking, what should be in everybody's arsenal. I said this earlier. If you were in the high bracket, you had almost a 50% chance of finding your job through somebody you know. 46% of those 15,000 people found their job through somebody they knew or somebody they knew or something like that. But even on in the lower group, it was still more than 25%. So you ought to have at least a quarter of your percentage of effort that you're dialing up in your job search aimed at networking if you want to try to go in accordance with these stats. Targeting companies, and I said researching companies, and you ought to drive your job search based on your targeted company list. I wasn't kidding. The high group, 25%, 1 in 4 people just said, I thought about who I wanted to work for. I reached out to those organizations, whether they had an opening or not, and I got a job. 1 in 4 shot. And even in the younger grouping, in the lower earners, it was still 15%. So for me, the way I think through how I'm going to map the world and how I'm going to bring myself to market, it isn't by the job positions. If I only focused on job positions, then I would be at the mercy of the world and the employers who not had openings, but advertised the openings. So think about how much less of an opportunity you have if you only look for publicized opportunities. That's why targeting companies, irrespective of whether they have a publicized opportunity, is good for you. And by the way, I have lots of stuff that's out there, but you should check out my video on how to apply when there's no job opening. This is what I'm talking about. It's a great one. You got a lot less competition. Great companies are always hiring, and they're always trading out people for more talented people, which you are. So applying online. This is what I call cold traffic, going and putting your resume into a corporate website, Indeed.com, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, Yahoo Hot Jobs, Monster, Career Builder, whatever. Bang. 10% on the higher earning group. So it's fact matter. The more you earn, the more senior you are, the less publicized opportunities that are out there. The lower the earner, and I do say, so remember I said this is kind of below 100. This is really kind of below 60. I break that down in the work plan for you, but you got about a half a chance that way. So you do want to be spending, if you're on the lower end of the earning spectrum or you're younger, you probably want to spend a little more time targeting companies and applying online because it's going to give you a better chance. Now, we talked about this one. I loved it. This might be my favorite one because people don't get the power of not just having a good LinkedIn profile, knowing how to drive traffic there, and being receptive to the inbound inquiries from corporate recruiters, third-party recruiters, hiring officials, anybody who wants to network with you. 8%, think about this. We're talking 1,200 people that I've interviewed in my life were found on LinkedIn while they were not looking for a job. Maybe they were looking for a job, but somebody found them, wanted to open up a conversation or bring them in for an interview or see if they were receptive, and they actually took the job. Think about that. 8%. 8 out of 100. So if you want these 8 points, you got to have a sweet-looking LinkedIn profile. You got to know how to optimize it, but you need to know how to drive traffic to it. You need to know how to drive traffic to it. And then to put this in perspective, I also mentioned, if you think about it, for a lot of you, no matter who you are, even if you're in the lower earning and younger group, applicant tracking systems, on the other hand, you have about a 3% chance of being seen, of even being seen. That's filtered through the applicant tracking system just to get to somebody to review your resume. Forget about I don't even know what the percentage is of people that get hired. I can't. It's got to be less than 1% of the people that put their resume into an applicant tracking system actually get hired. But I don't have that data, so I'm not going to give you that number. But I can tell you that the 3% number that I just shared with you, I do surveys every year. I talk to recruiters informally. I've got loads of recruiter friends that I connect with. We have some powwows, current events, little, quarterly calls, that kind of stuff. And I ask them questions about what's going on. And I ask them questions about their systems, what's happening, what are people doing right, what are they doing wrong, so that I can advise the people in my programs. And I ask them what percentage of the and sometimes what I'll ask them is, can you just pick 3 jobs, kind of a low, a medium, and a high job, and let me know those percentages. So think about that. Think about that. I mean, that's a huge difference. And then volunteering. 1,500 people. 1,500 people got jobs because they were volunteering in the direction they were going. In the direction they were going. So I always use that example about I love feeding my starving children. But, if you're a white-collar worker or you want to work in an art museum or whatever, you need to be volunteering your time hosting events at, the local museum. That's what I'm talking about with volunteering. And believe me, lots of organizations are willing to take on volunteers. It's a great resume builder if you're doing that as well. So that's a good one. Working with recruiters, I don't recommend you chase them. I know a lot of people, I get emails every day. Why don't recruiters call me back? Why, I'm working with 5 recruitment agencies. No one can find me a job. No one's looking for a job for you. So no one's looking for a job for you. Recruiters work on behalf of companies. They find people for jobs. They do not find jobs for people. That's why I don't want you spending a lot of time. I don't care who you are. You shouldn't be spending a lot of time contacting recruitment firms. It's okay to respond to them, but I wouldn't be reaching out. Or if you want to reach out, spend an hour a week, send some emails. If you're in my programs, I tell you what to say in the emails, but you want to be able to offer that recruiter something. Now, why do people's searches drag on? We talked about this. If you are not lining up your effort with those stats I just gave you, your search is likely to drag on. This is a great one. I didn't say this in the masterclass, and I was so bummed I didn't share this with you. We had a woman in my job search boot camp. She was in the December 2017 session. Stephanie, awesome. Stephanie L. Stephanie L is a salesperson, earns over 6 figures, was struggling, works in on the West Coast, was really struggling, putting her resumes into applicant tracking systems. She got in the boot camp. We went through the sessions. She emailed me. We actually talked on the phone, and she said, I'm not having any luck. I said, forget all that. Use the scripts that I gave you to contact the people, and here's what you want to say. And I only want you to send it to very senior people in the organizations. And do me a favor, spend one entire day and do nothing but send emails to people, and here's what I want you to say. She emails me the next couple days, end of the week. I think it was like Tuesday I told her to send all the emails. By Friday, she emails me back. She says, I sent 12, I got 10 responses, and these were actually fat finger typed back to me that I'm getting real conversations with people. Now, they didn't all say, hey, I want you to come in for an interview. But the fact that they were responding, the fact that they were engaging, the fact that they appreciated what she sent them, and half of them turned into interviews. So you've got to be thoughtful about how you're reaching your outreach. 10 messages a week is better than stuffing 150 applications into an applicant tracking system, no matter who you are. So make sure, dial it up, align it up, and you got no excuse, because I put this, because I slaved over you, my peeps. It's right in here. She got 3 work plans. You see this? Can you see that? I know my camera goes nuts. But basically, you got 3 work plans. If you are 50 and older or earn over 100K, those percentages are perfectly dialed in. They're perfectly dialed in. And under 50 and earning between 60 and 100K, and then under 50 and earning less than 60K. That will help you. That will help you. And I had a bonus tip in the Job Search Masterclass, and I want to give you the bonus tip again, because this one, to me, as a coach, I spend more time on this with people, because it is about your confidence in your outreach, how you feel about your job search. So a lot of times people get bummed out. No one's replying back to me. I'm not getting, I sent 100 applications to the applicant tracking system. Why do employers ghost me? Why don't recruiters call me back? So happiness is an internal thing, but let's just say I can't lobotomize all of you in this hour and try to get you to understand that you want to, happiness is a choice. But what I can do is I can try to help you set up and think about your environment in a different manner that will likely lead to you being a little more jovial as you go through this painstaking process. So I talked about how do we get you, I should say, to feel in control. Your happiness oftentimes has a lot to do with the control you feel about the situation. I didn't use this example last week, but this is a really good one. When you give somebody a choice and they choose, even if they choose wrong, they're less mad than if you said, this is what you got to do. Okay? So that's why I'm a huge fan of when you give, for all y'all hirers out there, when you give your employees an offer, there should be some choices in it. Okay? And actually, when you negotiate as a job seeker, you should give the employer choices to satiate you as well. So, but what I was getting at is, the more in control you feel of your search, the happier you generally will be. The best way for you to get happy faster or stay positive faster is probably to change the metrics you're using by which you're evaluating yourself and your search and the health. Let me give you an example. That Stephanie example I just gave you, if she evaluated herself based on the number of responses from the applicant tracking systems, she was miserable. I know she was, because we talked. But the moment I said, forget all that, you contact at least 10 companies, and I want you to send those out, and as soon as you hit send on the 10th one, I want you to flip and smile, because that's job searching. Now you're in control of your outflow and your output, and nobody can stop you from sending your resume anywhere you want. So put the target company list together, find the people, send the message, be happy, go on to the next one, okay? And then work them as they come in. Well, she did that, and all of a sudden, she was changing her message. Even the ones that came back that were thanks but no thanks, but it was really nice of you to send this to me. I want to keep your stuff. That'll help you. So I want you to adjust your metrics. I want you to think about in the workbook. I actually put some metrics that, regardless of your demographic, we talked about how many companies did I identify. So you got a researching component. You've got how many people did I identify. That's a researching component. You are totally in control of that. How many emails did I send? You are totally in control of that. Totally in control. How many relationships did I build? Are you connecting with people? When you connect with people, wonderful serendipitous accidents happen. They don't happen when when you're not sending messages out. They don't happen to me when I'm not on the phone. So I want you to start evaluating the health of your job search based on these outputs. And I think I talked about it last week. It's output and the quality of the content that goes in it. This is a quality over quantity situation. It only takes one. That's it. One company, one employer for you to be right, to win this. So think about that. And then the other thing that I want you to do, and I don't want to go into a lot of it because I want to get onto the third piece, is I want you to track and adjust. I want you to track and adjust. Now, if you're in my boot camp or you're in some of my other classes or you're using or you're not and you're using a lot of my free templates and all that good stuff, awesome. Watch what's happening. Is it working? Alter, if you're using a cover letter, alter the goal or the accomplishment. Maybe you want to add a couple more sentences here or there. See what's working. I'm sending cover letter A to these 5 employers. I'm sending cover letter B to these 5 employers. Which one did better? So you want to pay attention because you got to make adjustments. I'm giving you the tools. But every employer is a little different. What they respond to is a little different. I'm giving you all my opinions, all my techniques based on everything that I've seen work and all the statistics I have that support that. But it doesn't matter. On any given day, at any given employer, on the mood they're in, on when you sent it, on how they read it, on what was going on in their life, all those things, none of us can control. But if you track and you look at what's happening, and I went into kind of, the messages I send to you guys, are they opening that? I can change the subject line. Can I write a more compelling message? Am I giving them everything I got? What can I change? Am I making sure I'm focusing on why this is important to them? You need to do the same things that I do as I adjust in my conversations with you. So I want you to make sure you're tracking and adjusting. And if you do those things, actually, this was kind of odd. I promise you, things will work out. Things will work out. They will work out better, and you will find it faster. Now, when you find it, we want to make sure you win it. So, I talked about my baby. Come on, if you have not grabbed this, grab it. This has helped. I think it's like more than like 150,000 people now with these promos and all this good stuff. This will give you. I know I've said this on the page where you can get it. The interviewing methodology that I developed, the one that I use to coach the candidates, the job seekers that we recruit, or the job candidates that we recruit, plus the people in the training programs and all that good stuff. This gives you a 560% better chance of being hired because your communication is going to be dialed in. And if you're wondering how I can pull 560%, where I pull that from, the surveys that I was telling you about that we do, we conduct them with companies, many companies. Thousands of people respond because we have loads of people that we've connected with and that we've targeted over the 15 or so years that we've been doing this. And we ask them, how many candidates did you interview as a company? How many candidates did you hire? How many candidates did it take you in order to get the person you needed? How many, all these stats. And we look at the average company, the average number of people they interview to go through. We look at all the people that we coach, train, recruit, whatever it is. We look at the speed at which they can attain the job, actually get it. So how many of our candidates with this coaching does it take to get a hire? The difference is 560%. So, and even if you can't achieve that level, wouldn't you love 200%? So grab the book, and in the book, I talk about the 3 reasons that you ultimately get the job. It has more to do with your communication than it does with your qualifications. Your qualifications got you the interview. Now you're through your targeting companies, your outbound messages, and your wonderful content that we've taught you how to write, the targeting that you do, the fielding, the securing of the interview, all of that stuff, the employer through all of that says you're qualified. And so too are all the other people that we're interviewing, because on paper, you look good. You look good. So you walk in, actually, most of the time, getting benefit of the doubt. That on paper, you're qualified. So how do you go from being qualified on paper to not getting the job? You have to open your mouth, and they have to open their mouths. And stuff comes out, and sometimes that gets misinterpreted. So through all the studying that I've done, when I wrote the book, I had 7 years of data. Everything else since that time, the additional 7 years of data that we have now, all support the same conclusions. There's 3 reasons you get a job. It's your ability to accurately articulate your fit and value. The person who can get the message across about how what he or she has, the experience, the value they can bring, and how they're going to make the employer's lives easier. Fix the employer's issue, the issue at the moment, what it is the employer needs to hire. That person wins the job. You have to properly encode your message. It's not about your fabulousness overall. It's about your ability to distill down what it is that you can do that the employer needs you to do. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, just because you said it perfectly doesn't mean they got it perfectly. So the second reason is the interviewer's ability to interpret what you said. We call that decoding. We call what you do encoding. And then there's the interviewer's capacity to remember the breadcrumbs that they plant about you. They never can remember specifically what you say. They remember how you make them feel, and they drop descriptors of you in their head that they recall at a later date. So they don't remember the details. They remember you were detailed, if that makes sense. Book goes into all that. I highly recommend it. But the one thing that I want to talk about now in this session is your ability to accurately decode or encode your message. So what's the one thing that I want you to think about? And I'm going to run through very quickly how you effectively make sure you're encoding your message and you're on point with what they need. Now, the reason people fail at this is, I said, not all of your awesomeness is created equal. So what a lot of people do is they run off at the mouth and speak about things that, while fabulous and huge accomplishments and great, are not exactly what the employer needs at the moment. And I'm not talking about those people who just give off a bad impression, who just don't interview well in general, or insult the interviewer, whatever. And that's crazy. I'm talking about all of you and the 2 other candidates that are competing for the job, and you're all equally qualified, let's say. The person who can distill down what he or she has that the employer needs, that's the person who gets the job. So if you are spending too much time talking about yourself and things that, while great, don't matter, you're losing opportunity to gain points for the things that do. So you want to be careful. So where's that come in? Well, the job description itself is an awesome place to start. So we talked about the job description. We talked about this in the masterclass. I went into detail. I'm going to give you very quickly in a minute or two what I would do with the job description. You want to make sure you look at it, and I would really memorize the requirements that they're asking for and the job duties. The requirements and the duties, those things are the most important, those most important aspects of the interview you're going into. You have got to cover those in your responses, Now, if you got the job description, great. You can do your homework. You can plan. The Interview Intervention book, inside the book, there's the 14 most effective job interview questions you can be asked, 43 variations of those questions. There's also why the employer is asking him, what the employer is looking for, and the very best responses. So I've just given you 43 questions that you can dial up before you ever get in. And if you have the job description, you want to make sure that the stories you're choosing in response to those questions the employer is likely going to ask you are dialed up against the job description. That's the first thing. But I also realize not all job descriptions are super thick. Some of them are really thin, right? System engineer, normal system engineer stuff. Okay, well, you don't have that. Well, first thing, call the recruiter, whether it's third party, corporate, whoever, HR person, hiring official, whoever you need to. What more insight can you give me? I just want to be prepared. That's one thing you can do. Second thing that I recommend that you do is go look at the competitors of that company, look at their job descriptions, and see what details they're calling for. Might not be exactly the same, but you're gonna get a pretty good idea. Or can't find those? Don't worry about it. Or in addition to that, look at the people that are working at that organization in that capacity. If there are team members that you can find that you think either are doing it now or did do it in the past, look at their LinkedIn profiles and their description of their job duties. Put a little elbow grease into it, folks. You can get this info. Dial it up, prep it, blueprint it, all that good stuff. And then when you get in there, we talked about the tell me, walk me situation. So this is, I mean, we all know this, right? A lot of times, I say interviewers are really lazy when they ask you this stuff. I know people disagree with that, but the simple fact of the matter is, I as an interviewer, it's incumbent upon me to get the information I need in order to make a good determination that you're a good fit. If I leave you to guess at what I need, we're gonna burn a lot of time with you telling me about yourself. So I gotta tell me about myself, and I gotta walk me through your resume video out there on my YouTube channel and the blog. Go ahead and watch those. But for purposes of this discussion, the message I want to convey when you get the, hey, tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume, I want to make sure that as you go through your background, you are spending more time on the stories in your resume or in your background that are more in alignment with the job you are interviewing for. So that could be, currently I'm doing that job, awesome, but the role you're in right now might not be the exact same or might not position you as effectively as the role you did before. So if I got to walk you through my resume, well, currently I'm doing this, and you know, that's what I'm doing. But okay, now, but 4 years ago, I was in this role. Let me tell you a little more about that one. So just make sure that you're weighting the proper elements of your background, your resume, and all that good stuff. And you are, when you get the tell me or walk me questions, that you are spending more time. So I want you to kind of, if you can imagine, I want you to skim and then drop deep on the areas that are most in alignment with what the job description is. Okay, so that's the first one. Then we also talked about, I always talk about the only two types of interview questions that you can actually get. The tell me, walk me question is about your past. It's about your past. So I always say that there's only two types of interview questions. Tell me what you did or tell me what you're going to do. It's about your past or it's about your future. Behavioral interviewing questions. And this always cracks me up. Everybody says, Andy, why don't you do a video on how to answer behavioral interviewing questions? I've done 50 videos on that. I've written a book about how to answer the behavioral interview questions. It doesn't matter. It's a question about your past. I've given you the methodology to answer it. When you get a behavioral interviewing question, oh wait, look, one more thing on that. Just because I don't title the video how to answer behavioral interviewing questions doesn't mean you don't have all the answers. Okay, when you get a question about your past, this is awesome because you have stories that you're going to choose from. If you go through the Interview Intervention book, behavioral interviewing questions are in there. You dial up your responses and you pick and choose the scenarios or the stories, that's my vernacular, that you're going to tell the employer based on the job description. That's what you want to do. So all the stuff about your past. Tell me about that project. Tell me about a time when. Tell me about a situation where. Any of that stuff. Those are all behavioral interviewing because it's a fancy name for it's about your past. okay? Because the behavioral concept is we think your past performance is an indicator of your future performance, and all of you that have been following me know that I think that that's total horse crap, but that's the way employers think. So you want to make sure your stories are dialed up that way. So when you get a behavioral interviewing question, you want to make sure that you choose your stories based on the job description. But the future, the situational questions, these are much better for us interviewers to ask you, because what these do is it puts you in a future scenario, likely in our environment. So my company, if I'm hiring you and I say, hey, we've got this scenario with these type of customers where we're selling this product, and here's the question they always ask us, what would you do? That is a real life scenario. I'm now going to get a real life view of how you're going to react based on all your history, and you're going to tell me what you drew on from your past and how you dial it up in the future. And that is so much more powerful for me as an interviewer to know. But when you do that, I want to make sure that you're doing it in reference to the job description, and you're making sure that the story you're telling and the message you're encoding is rich with that, with the background that you need that's on the job description, and the requirements of the new job. And I mentioned this when I've shot videos about senior execs, and I mentioned this last week in the masterclass for all of you. It makes no difference who you are. The more time that you spend in the job interview in the future, in their future, the better you're doing. The better you're doing. The more time you're spending in your past, the worse you're doing. I'm not saying you're bombing the interview, but the more you can shift the discussion to the future, the better reference the interviewer can get of how it would be to work with you in their environment. I mentioned this last week. This is a total joke, but every interviewer and every employer thinks their environment is unique and harder than whatever it is you're doing. They all think that. I don't know why, but they think that. So what you don't want is you don't want the employer or the interviewer falsely assuming that just because you could do it effectively in your environment or the previous environments or whatever, that you cannot do it in their environment. Sometimes you tell a beautiful story about your past, and then they say, okay, let's move on to the next question. And then they're thinking, well, that was pretty good, but that's not really how we would do it. Or we've got other variables that she didn't speak to, so she probably can't do it. They actually think this stuff. So I want to make sure that anytime you're speaking about your past, there's a couple techniques here you can use. If you're speaking about your past and you're telling a story, at the end of that story, before you take a breath, I want you to say, that's how I'd handle it in the past. Do you have a scenario in the future where it's similar that you'd like me to address so you can get an idea of how I would operate in your environment? And if they say no, that's okay. They probably got what they needed. If they say yes, here's the scenario we encounter. How would you deal with that? That's fantastic. You just saved yourself right there. Or the more you can shift it to the future. Now, if you have an interviewer who's giving you a balance of these questions about your past and about your future, now that you know how to diagnose this, the interviewer's probably pretty good, because I do like to get some past stuff, but I need to get you into the future, because into the future tells me how you'd operate and how you're drawing on stuff from your past. So the bonus tip that I wanted to give you is you want to spend more time into the future. Now, you can do that in the wake of a response. So you're telling a story. You just finish, and you in the middle of the interview, I don't care when it is, 20 minutes in, just say, hey, do you have a scenario going forward? That's one way to shift it into the future. The second way, I gave you this insurance question in the masterclass. This is an absolute beauty, folks. Every single one of you should have some form or variation of the question I'm about to give you. When you're talking and you're responding, you can actually control the interview by shifting it to the future. Do you have a scenario, and so on. And what you're doing is you're kind of bumping what you just did, and you're extending your response. Okay? That's going to give them more comfort. And the more they can imagine how you'll operate in their environment, like I said, the better you're doing. But in order to force the issue, and make sure, this question is so good for a couple of reasons. We want to make sure that you're talking into the future, but what I really hope is that any interviewer that's interviewing you has a crystal clear picture of how you would accomplish exactly what they need you to do in the relative short term once you're hired. So the person who can get the interviewer to imagine how much better their life is going to be, that's the person who wins the job. Okay, so it's not just about encoding your message, it's about encoding it properly and shifting the discussion to the future. So one of the ways you can do that in your question asking period, so let's say, 45 minutes of the hour or 20 minutes of your half hour, whatever, is spent with you responding to questions, and you kind of mix that technique in there. But as you get an opportunity to ask questions of the interviewer, if I could only ask one question of the interviewer because I was running out of time, I would say, I have a lot of questions, but here's one that's really important to me so that I have a good understanding of what the job entails. If I was to take this job, or you were to offer me this job and I was to accept it, what exactly will I have accomplished in 12 months that you would consider to be a raging success or very successful? Or if you don't like that lead in, you can also say, in 12 months from now, what will the person you have hired done exactly, accomplished exactly, so that you would consider it to be successful? And you want them to be very specific. If they're not specific, make them be specific. So what's added, what's reduced, what's built, what's completed, how many new customers do I have, is the system implemented, whatever it is, get them to say it specifically. This will do a number of things for you. Number one, you can breathe easier that they know exactly what success looks like. If they don't know what success looks like, their evaluation of you will be a moving target, and it will be a nightmare. It will be a nightmare for you in your first year. Second thing it does is when you get the specifics, you can now start telling your stories about how you will do each one of those things. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to imagine, oh, wow, it's going to be great when she gets here. It's like she's part of the team already. I know she knows how to do it. You're giving them such comfort that you can operate effectively, and you know how to do what they need you to do. That is a big point gainer if you can do that. So that insurance question is awesome for you to throw out there, or some variation. What you're really going for is, what does that look like specifically? Think about this. If they cannot envision success, how are they going to know if you're successful? How are you going to know if you're successful? But if you can show them exactly what their company will look like in 12 months, assuming that they've given you the support, they've stayed committed, you've done your job, and all that good stuff, that's gold. That's absolute gold. So the more you can shift it in the future, you want more on that. All of you should watch my 12 strategies to succeed in executive job interviews. It's a live office hours, and it's like 20, 30 minutes of me going through all 12 of these steps, and that's one of them. It's a big one. And if you can do that at any level, I assure you, you're unless somebody's related to somebody, you're getting that job. You're getting that job. So I really, really want you to remember me holding up this card. It's about your future. Okay? It's about their future and how you're going to make their lives better. Okay? That's what wins the job. That's what wins the job. They envision you there. They envision you there, and they can see it. All right, let's talk about your future. So I want to transition. I want to show you very quickly, because I know we're running out of time here on my boot camp, which I love. We're starting a live version of this tomorrow. Now, it always runs. The boot camp is always available. But these live sessions give you extra opportunity to jump in, work with me. They're 5 deep live sessions, and even if you can't attend them, there's all the recordings and all that good stuff. You got probably a lot of you on my email list. You got a message this morning. It closes at midnight tonight. So I just want to show it to you really quick if you haven't seen it, and then I will spend an hour or so. We'll go through all your questions, and I'll give you a chance if you want to enroll. I've got a little something special. First thing I want to do is I want to show you these people who have been through it. And I want to bring a little bit to life and if you've been following the conversation with me, the emails and all that good stuff throughout the week, this is you know, these are some of the people that I've introduced. You've seen case studies on some of them. I just want to zip through because these are real live success stories. Scholastica joined in April. We were in between live sessions, so she never even went to a live session. She joined in April and then popped this up the beginning of May, had already found her job, secured the interview, went through the process, got a substantial pay increase from an excellent law firm, and I think she used the whole gamut. She sent me a really nice message, but basically took full advantage. And then Ben had been looking for months. He's a senior guy, went through a lot of struggling on his own, got into boot camp in May, went through the live versions. That's the last time we went through this. And 3 weeks after he completed the program, he had this wonderful multi-six-figure job. And for those of you that join in one of the Facebook groups, he kind of gives you a blow-by-blow of his recommendation of how best to go through the process, what happened to him, what he did. It's a wonderful story. Cassie, she's an absolute gem. She was I think she might have been in the March session or the January session, but you know, didn't even have a resume, joined the boot camp, got an opportunity, went through the process. We went back and forth. I called her because she had gotten an offer, and we went back and forth about how do I do this? How do I negotiate this? And she used the tactics that we taught her in the boot camp, but I gave her some other pointers. She got her full counter and got a $30,000 to $50,000 pay increase, you know, based on how she performs and her bonus. That's 100 times what she paid for the program. Came, you know, out of nowhere. And then Kathy, same kind of thing. This one, Kathy, this is special. I mean, she was in Europe. She moves and self-employed. She moves to California with her husband and her children. She's unemployed. She's looking for work. She found a coach who said, you'll never get what you're looking for. You know, what you're looking for is too pie in the sky, and it's entirely too much money, what you're looking for. She reached out to me. She emailed me. She had some questions about the boot camp. I told her that's total bunk. Get in the program. She went through the program, finished it in March, and had surfaced 3 opportunities, got 3 offers, and accepted one. Within 7 weeks she started, because she actually put this out where she'd actually had already completed her first week of the job. So these are wonderful, wonderful real life success stories. And just to introduce you to the program, if you're on my email list, you probably saw the letter that I sent you yesterday. If you haven't, it was me and my letter to you about why I think this is so powerful. But this is the overall program. This is the overall program page. It's it really, you know, kind of takes you through. You can see the countdown counter there. It ends at midnight Pacific time tonight. I'm not going to read the whole page to you, but I really would love to show you what you get. You get 5 modules. Like I said, they're already recorded, and we record each live version of this. So if you miss anything, you can get it whenever you want. The people that really love this is the people who kind of binge watch the stuff and then come to the live sessions because they're getting the repetition. But I want you to notice this thing over on the right where I say lifetime access. When you enroll in any program in the Mile Walk Academy, you get lifetime support and lifetime access. So this is like lifetime email support to us. So you don't have to pay for this on an ongoing basis. It's very, very helpful. And then just to run through what's in there, it's an entire end-to-end program. The starting session is a much deeper dive at what I showed you earlier in this recap of the Job Search Masterclass. It's your elevator pitch and your headline, your why. We test it. We go through all your needs. I give you that spreadsheet all blown out. We make sure you understand the types of questions to ask the employer, how to ask them. The second session is about all the marketing stuff. This is your resume, your cover letter, LinkedIn, how to set that LinkedIn profile up, and how to drive traffic to it. It's not just good enough to have a LinkedIn profile. You got to get people to notice it. So how do you do that? And then the third day is about running the ideal job search. So we map up and I teach you based on your demographic. We go deeper into what I taught you today about those work plans. We go into how do you do each one of those activities? How do you target those people? How do you network properly so that you're getting the yield you want? all that good stuff. Everything interviewing related. I can actually say this and it not being funny, but I literally wrote the book on interviewing. So you're going to get all that. So it's not just the tactics. It's every way to prepare, how to research, how to dial up and get all your homework done, how to effectively interview, close it, and position yourself so that you can negotiate effectively. And the negotiating session is not about the negotiating discussion. It's about every step you take along the way, from the time you fill in the application all the way till the time you make the counteroffer. What do you do at each step along the way? I want you to be building up points and chits along the way so that you can cash them in at the end to truly get paid what you deserve. Now this, I did spend more time this go around. I want to point this out. The reason that a lot of programs fail is because there isn't a strategy. People are just kind of at the whim of what their friends are referring them to, what they think they know about the market, who they think can employ them. But if you dial up a whole strategy where we start with the self-awareness, we lay out all the steps, and you've got an approach to bring yourself to market, you're going to be a lot more successful. That's why a lot of the point solutions fail. So when you just get your resume fixed, you're wondering, well, why am I not getting all these callbacks from employers? I got this $1,000 resume I just had done by some so-called professional. But it's the structure, it's the steps that you need to take to know how to leverage that resume and everything else in between, and dialing it up like we talked about with the work plans I gave you today. All the strategy, all the structure, that's what gives you speed, but the ongoing support. So I'm there for you. It's like I'm there at your fingertips, or I'm there in the coaching sessions, or we've got the community around you that can support you. That's a big, big deal. If you want to watch a little video as I walk you through this stuff in more detail, it's there. You can take it on the go. The stuff's downloadable. We talked about this one here. I want to stress this ongoing coaching. This is definitely going to end. This ongoing coaching that I give you, I don't want you to just find the job. The boot camp will help you do that. But the ongoing coaching that I offer is 12 months membership in my Career Coach Casts, which is a once a month session that I do. It's usually an item or two on job searching, an item or two on career development. It's also a much smaller and private group where you can ask me all your questions. This will reinforce the lessons you've learned in the Mile Walk Academy, but it's also your time to interact with me in a smaller audience. That's 12 months, plus you get all the archives. There's the Facebook groups I mentioned. I'll ship a book to you. Hey, for those of you that are already in the boot camp, if you already have the book, I'll sign and ship one of my other books to you. This is the schedule. This is just July's schedule, but whenever you're watching this, because this video will live up on YouTube, you can jump in at any time. And then the next session will probably be in 3 months, and then 3 months after that. But this is the calendar, but you can really go at your own pace. This is the ongoing coaching I mentioned, and these are the prices. Now, the everyday price is $597. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to flip that, and it'll go back up to $597, and the 12 months of the coaching is going to go away. So that $228 bonus is going to go away. The boot camp itself, if you want to add a resume review to it, is another $500. And if you want to add a private coaching call, that's another $500. Or you can have a boot camp and a coaching call for $997. Just based on the value people are getting out of those, the amount of time I put into each of those, it's really a great deal if you can swing it. I understand it's expensive, but the value is there. And then the other thing is, you get access to my other programs. There's tons and tons of testimonials. Everything is guaranteed. I do have some trade-up options if you're an existing student. I also have a trade-in option if you've been jilted by another trainer. Some restrictions apply, so if you're not sure if you want to take advantage of those, you just email me. And then there's some other questions. But I really want to stress, this is the amount you're getting, the 5 sessions with me, the 12 sessions in the coaching program, the $1,200 or $1,300 or $1,100, $1,200, $1,300 in training programs that you're getting as a bonus. When you start looking at $500, is that worth it to you? Think about how much faster I can help you, how much more money you can negotiate for because you're doing all the things right. You're interviewing right. Think about how much ROI you can get. Those people were getting 100 times ROI. We have one guy 87 times. We have a college student who got his first job 200 times ROI. So it really, really can offer you a great yield. So I just want to let you know, and it's good till tonight. I'd love to, there's still quite a few here, which I love. I want to go back to me, and I want to take your questions now. All right, 500, 1,000, and 1,500. Now here's a little something that I think people are gonna like. I know a lot of people that I've been emailing back and forth have absolutely loved it when I emailed them and rebated them $400, because you're my people, and I know if you've been following me, you know these are the rates. There's a discount and a bonus on this live promotion because we like to have Bootcamp Mania when I'm doing this live. If you want to get in now, and you don't want to wait till midnight tonight, because I know I'm going to get like 40 people after 9 o'clock tonight that all jump in, because this happens every time we do this. If you get in before we hang up, let's say at least the next 45 minutes or so 1 o'clock my time, Central Time, if you enroll in the $497 packet, for $100, you can have a coaching session with me or a resume review. It's not an upsell, it's what I call a bump. So if you buy the $500 product and I say, hey, do you want to upgrade to the $1,000 package? That's an upsell, $500, because that's what it costs. That's the everyday price for that. But if you enroll, we will know who enrolls. Between now, there's a little checkbox. You can click it, and don't worry about whether you want the coaching call or the resume review. I email every boot camper. I literally, no matter how many of you there are, 50, 100, 200, doesn't matter. I email every single person, and I want you to tell me your story. I want to get to know you. I want to know what struggles you have. So when I email you, I will ask you, hey, what are you thinking? And you don't even need to decide. You can change your mind if you want until we do it. That offer is only good until, let's say, 1 o'clock or whenever we click off. But I'll give you a heads up. But I just want you to know, for $100, you can have some time with me, or you can have a resume review from me. So I hope that helps. And as a matter of fact, I want to go to the chat and say hi, John. Great to see you from Maryland. Maya's a boot camper with a killer resume. Gary, great to see you. I'm glad your father is feeling better. Charles, I love having you here. We're going to get your coaching call in. Robert, great to see you. Patricia, Sue from Arizona. I got your, by the way, this is also prize time. Sue, I hope you're still here. I got your email about not in one of my other programs and not being able to swing the boot camp, but let me swing it for you. So just as a thanks for being awesome and showing up and circulating my stuff, Kara, can we give Sue a boot camp and get her in, and so she can spend the next 2 weeks with me? I would like to do that for her. And Patricia, great to see you. Adam from England, great. Connie Cotter, great to see you. New boot camper. Daniel Jorson, new boot camper. Vicky Salazar, new boot camper. I love this, man. All right, hang on. I think I lost that there. Okay. So, Sue, I hope you're here. I hope you heard that. Amy K, great to see you. Daniel's a boot camper. Crystal, hey, that's a new name. Crystal, hey, how are you? Michelle Middleton. Hold on, one other thing. Michelle Middleton, I hope you're still here. You know, last week when we were doing the chat and you gave a shout out and you said, hey, everybody, come on. This is great. You need to click the thumbs up for Andy. Well, my brain must have been, I don't know, like a little loopy or whatever. But what I want to do for you is thanks for having my back and being awesome and being a boot camper and all that. I want to give you a free coaching call. So, Kara, can we make a note of that? Oh, tell me if I'm going too fast for you. But I made a mental note that if MM was on the session, I needed to let her know that. So that's cool, and we can do yours over the next couple of weeks. All right. Chris Viola, great to see you. Irene, good to see you. Bernie V, good to see you. Hey, Bernie, hope you got my email. I hadn't heard back from you, but hey, Mom, how are you? I'm working hard, Mom. Trying to save the world. Help everybody I can. Lucy Smith's got a question. All right, here we go. Kara, just let me know if Lucy is first or if I missed anybody. All right. Lucy Smith, when I send my thank you cards and thank you emails, can they be the same message? Lucy, everybody. Great question. No. No, 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 no. Okay. Send a thank you email. Here's your best formula. Send the thank you email. Page 83. Page 83 has the email you should send. The thank you email. It's free. Remember, it's free. Get it. Send that email immediately within 24 hours. Speed and thoughtfulness. Right? Thank you for your time. So on and so forth. What you might want to do is in the PS or at the very tail, before you close up with your excitement, mention you dropped a card in the mail. Because the card is going to take a little while, right? Could be 2 days. I don't know. Could be all over the place. I mean, depending on where you live. In the card, they're going to open it. You know that. The email, they might glance through, or they might pass it on HR, whatever. When I open the card and I read it, it would be better for you to be connecting with me on a deeper level because you are taking an extra step. Awesome. Make it count. But if you send a card and you handwrite it and it's the same content, you didn't gain more points. Now, you don't need to do a full court press. You want to keep the card itself of card nature. Make it a little more personal. Make it about them. Make it about learning from them, being whatever, working with them, whatever it can be, but make it personal. Make the connection. They opened it. There is something different. Do you know, okay, this book, I held the book up as like the 7th or 8th time. Do you know the difference that I have connection-wise with people who have this book on their bedside table or on their bookshelf or kitchen table, wherever in the brief bag, versus the people that have the ebook? It's totally different. It's totally different. It's physically in their house. It's physically on their desk. Make it count. Make it count. That develops a deeper connection. So just make it a little more casual too, because they should have gotten the email already, right? That card is not going to beat the email. So, excuse me, that's what I would do. Hey, Rory, how are you? Christina Butler, good to see you. Pat's here. Hey, buddy. Hope to see you at the boot camp tomorrow. Got a good one tomorrow. Valeria, great to see you. Hope to see you at the boot camp. All right, I think, let me see. I'm looking for my next. So Kara wonderfully at 3 minutes into the session put the workbook out in case you guys didn't get it. But make sure, grab this, folks. Grab this and go through that. Go through the, kind of go through the whole program while it's still up, because we're going to be taking that down and putting it in the Mile Walk Academy here soon. All right, the zombie review. All right, yeah, hey, get in there, buddy. All right, Rosemary Hall, she's a boot camper. Great to have you. Irene, great to see you. Chris Violet. Jill C. Boot camp. Man, I love my boot campers, man. By the way, when you are a boot camper, this is like family. Okay, I mean, this is you think this is good. Boot campers are really special to me. You're all special to me, but you know what I mean. Irene, where's the masterclass? Okay, Irene, everybody, if you go on my YouTube channel, just go to, there's a playlist. Just go to the playlists. It's like the most recent playlist. There's all 3 right in a row. Or if you go to uploads, there'll be the recent uploads. Don't worry or freak out that like one of them's, 2 of them are an hour and 40 minutes and one of them's 2 hours. But really, the instruction part is about 30 minutes of each of them. So it's about, actually it's a little more, it's like a little under 2 hours is all the instruction. So basically what I did in an hour, we did in 2 hours. I just went deeper. Hey, Kristen, how are you? D, good to see you. D's great. Another boot camper. Kelly, how are you? Ernie, good to see you. LaRasia, how are you? Thank you for that. Lisa, good to see you. She's another boot camper. Wendy, how are you? These I-teamers, come on, man. Give me your hashtags. All right, Rory's got a question. He's got an interview. It's with a small company. Does working in industry with a small, little-known company look bad if I'm applying to larger companies who want to know if I can hack it on a large scale? Trust me when I tell you, people from small companies know how to hack it on a larger scale more than people from large companies. Typically because when you work in a smaller organization, this is, generally speaking, people that work for smaller companies, Rory and everybody else, have to wear lots of hats. They develop lots of skills across the board. They know how to fend for themselves. They tend to be more go-getters because they've had to be. So I would not at all downplay that. As a matter of fact, when you go to a larger company, oftentimes the scope of your work is smaller. When you're a small company, generally speaking, scope is larger. So no, don't worry about that. All right, David Harley, how are you? Okay, so this is really good. This is good. Okay, David Harley asks, I have an opportunity to chat with the hiring manager for a position I applied to. It's not an interview, but a connection from my network. How do I structure the conversation to maximize effectiveness? David, I got news for you, buddy. It is an interview. Anytime any of you get a chance to speak with somebody who's in a hiring capacity that can pull you into their company, it's an interview. Treat it that way. Okay? Treat it that way. I'm not saying don't take the signs and the cues from the person you're interacting with. If they're casual, you could be casual, but it's an interview. That's the first thing. Second thing is if it's more like a connection and you're sitting down for coffee or lunch or you're popping in to his office or her office, I would get to what is it that they need? What is it that you need? Don't sound cliche like, oh God, what can I do to make you sleep better at night? Don't say stuff like that. But, what is it that you need to, on your team that would really kind of kick it forward, and really help it grow? And, I'd love to know if I'm a fit, and I'd be happy to, share my background in relation to what it is you need. Start with that. Candidly, if you can do that, then you're immediately going to get to know what this, I don't know if it's a he or she, but what the hiring manager needs. I'm not being funny here, and I tell this to my clients and my job candidates, and I'm going to tell this to all of you. We would all be better off if interviewers and job seekers sat down with a list of demands and said, here's what I need. You tell me how you satisfy it. Give me what you need. I'll tell you how I satisfy that. That would make life a lot easier. There would be no crap, no faulty assumptions, no, cute, coy questions about your favorite supermodel or whatever. It really would get right to the heart of the matter. So if you are going to talk to the hiring official, then what I would do is I would get right to it. What do you need? What do you need? I'd love to share my background as it relates to that. Now you're connecting dots like crazy, but I would get them going. I would get going right there. I would not, like normally, if I'm going to sit down for a formal interview and I'm given a chance to ask questions, I start top down. I would start right in the middle. What do you need? Tell me what you need. I would go right there. Cut the chit chat. That's how I would do it. Carol Schultz, hi, and welcome to the boot camp. Charles Dare, great. I'm not sure what you guys are doing, but I'm guessing you were downloading the workbook. Diana, how are you? Thank you for being overt on your question. Hi, Andy. Could you please give me some advice on searching for international jobs? Example, UN jobs. Some of the rules for conventional jobs may not apply. It's true. I would, candidly, I do get this question a bit. I actually have a video coming out. I don't know if it's next week or the week after. It'll either be Tuesday or the following Tuesday about how to do a remote job search. And the same thing applies for internationals or somebody wanting to move countries or states or within your country, you know, all that good stuff. I shot it months ago, but it's coming out. It's coming out in a couple of weeks or a week or so. I almost, it's gonna sound silly, like as if this isn't great advice, but you want to do the same things that you're doing because of the nature of the internet. All the things that I've instructed you as far as targeting the companies, looking at the openings that they have, and so on and so forth. I would do those same tactics. Just because you are searching for an international job, I'm assuming you mean, well, by the way, I'm assuming you mean a job in another country as opposed to I want a job with international scope of responsibilities. But that's, you know, I don't know that there's anything magical about that, Diana. I hope that helps. And you know, hang tight. I'm going to have that video out for you with there's 10 things that I tell you to do. All right. Charles Dare using Firefox. Okay. Trent Doyle. Is 56 too old to reinvent? You know, no. I'm going to be, hey, by the way, my birthday's next month. I'm going to be 52. So I reinvented here, you know, and I'm a work in progress. So, you know, by 56, I'm not going to be all dialed in. So, no. You are as old as you feel. All right, Tranny Browner. Blah, blah, blah. How do I overcome? Mr. Racer Rex. I don't know if you are a Speed Racer fan. I am. How do I overcome not having a college degree? I would not, you know what? I'm not being flip here. I've recruited, and my team have recruited for over 200 companies. Only one of them required a college degree for somebody who actually had requisite experience, meaning no one required a degree if the person had the right credentials. I mean, it may sound ridiculous, but we had one company who was fanatical about degrees. Like they had to be from like top 5 MBA schools or something really dumb. But I would not worry about that. I would not make a big deal out of that. Not to downplay that you don't have one. The fact of the matter is, lots of companies care more about your work experience. Now, if you are 22 or 21 and you don't have a lot of experience, that's a different issue. But I'm assuming that that's not the case. So I hope that helps. Stephanie, yes, you are family. If there are multiple offers, how do you negotiate a higher salary? I love it. I love it. Stephanie, that's a great question. What I tend to do, and I know a lot of people, some people love this technique, some people don't, but my natural inclination, anytime I'm interviewing, anytime I'm negotiating, anytime I'm communicating, whatever, I always value transparency. The fact that, hey, I've got an offer. And to the company that you prefer to work for, meaning you truly prefer to work for company A, not company B. You go to company A and you say, look, I want to work for you. I have an offer from another company as well. I'm basically yours to lose. Is there anything you could do in the way of, making this, compensation more attractive? But you don't, that's not your entire argument. You are sharing that you want to take company A's job. So, but you also need to reiterate the value you provided, because negotiating is about the value you're going to bring. And if you kicked it in the interview process, you killed it, then you're going to have the leverage you need. So based on what I showed you, based on what I can do, based on the value I'm going to bring, I feel I'm worth X, and I also have another offer. Please, is there anything you can do to accommodate, because I really want your job, and if you raise it to this, I will say yes. That's another thing. People got to realize, employers, when they have certainty that you will agree, they love that. Okay, so I want to make this work. I mean, 70, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because you've been through this with me, right? I want to make this work. Here's what I bring to the table. I got another offer. Here's my number. For that, you got me. My word. That's what they want to hear, because then they go back and they say, listen, we know it's a yes. They want to hire you. If they've extended the offer, they want to hire you. So But when you do things like, well, can you come up? And then they're guessing, like if I go up, is she still going to say yes or no? Then they really get miffed. So if you can, give them your word for that number, I'm good. I'm good to go. I want to make this work, and I want to come here, and so on. You're going to likely get it. Believe me, you will, especially if you got another offer. So I hope that helps. Hey, by the way, folks, if you're loving this, hit the thumbs up, share it out. This one's going to live for a while. This one's going to live. But the masterclass is only going to live a week or two. But this one's going to stay up there. YouTube loves the action. I love having you. If you're enjoying this, let me know. All right. If there are, I don't know if there are any, boot camp questions, but if there are, I'm happy to talk about that too. All right. Mick. This is great, Mick. Okay. It's been over a week since the day I was told I would hear something from a prospective employer, and I want to email them to check in. Okay, cool. What should I say? Ask. It is for a safety manager position. Okay, Mick, and anybody. So I'm going to give you some caveats, but this is generally what to do. If they said, I'm going to get to you, okay, so you're going to hear from me by. If you just met with them or just communicated and they say, I'm going to get to you in a day or two, or 1 day or 2 days or whatever, you only want to give them a day and say, hey, I'm checking in. I wanted to know if there was an update, because that's a tight range. If they say, we'll get to you in a week, we'll let you know by Monday, then give them like 3 days and reply. Now, you are out a week. I don't know, maybe it's been 2 weeks and they say, we'll get to you within 2 weeks. If it's a week later, I would have probably replied sooner, but I would just say, hey, I'm very interested in the opportunity and excited to hear how it's coming along. I just wanted to check in to see if there was an update. So-and-so mentioned that you'd reach back to me by last Monday, but I hadn't heard anything, so I thought I'd check in. And I really want to reiterate my interest. That's it. You want to poke them, but it's a tap on the shoulder, and you always want to reiterate your interest. So, but you don't know what's going on. So, anyway, let me see. Ooh, sorry. Oh, somebody putting some spam on. Kara is wielding her wrench. I love when she does that. She's very powerful, folks. All right. Sierra Salt got turned down for a job, and the company reposted the job, and I asked for reconsideration, but they refused to allow me to reapply. Is there something I could do to get my application reconsidered? I didn't get to interview for the position. So Sierra, wait, so you got turned down for a job, okay, so wait, so I'm assuming your second part, you never got to interview. So you submitted your resume, they turned it down and would not allow you to reapply because they don't feel your credentials for that particular position are appropriate. So I just shot a video that is how to get the job after being rejected. It's slightly different than your scenario. I would do the same thing that I recommended in the video, which is sending them an email, letting them know that you were interested and you feel you are a strong candidate for the role because it's kind of like a cover letter, but thank them for their consideration and say, I trust that what's best for your team based on my credentials, but I would like to be considered either for this position or any other you think would be suitable for me, and I would be happy to come, in for an interview, so on and so forth. I give you the language in the video, but something like that. But you have to realize if you actually got a rejection, if the rejection came from somebody who reviewed your resume, you're not gonna be able to warm it up. If the rejection came from the system and it was automated, you might have a shot. And we have way many scenarios of that happening with people in the Mile Walk Academy. They say, hey, I submitted my resume bang, I got a rejection within like 12 hours or 24 hours. If you get one that fast, I would bet my fanny that the system, the tolerance that's set by the employer, decided your resume didn't match enough. They hit an auto message. If it's like a week later and you get a bong, that's probably somebody reviewed it. Okay, so it's not 100%, but let's think about that. That's pretty common sense, right? Like, there's no way that employers reviewing resumes that fast and getting back to you that quickly. That's usually system generated. If that's the case, then I reapply. But I try to target the person. So, I try to stay outside the ATS. That's what I would do. But I would check that video out. I hope that helps. All right. Vicky, looking forward to helping you on your journey and through the boot camp. I was an ops manager for 20 years without a bachelor's degree. Now applying for office manager and administrative positions because lack of degree. Is this the correct course of action? Vicky, not at all to be evasive, but because I have the luxury of working with you more closely, I would love to see the resume first. My inclination is that is not the right course of action. Don't just assume. I mean, you got 20 years of experience or more. The bachelor's degree, at this point, the degree itself doesn't change your viability for positions. If you got some crazy employers that say you have to have a degree, as if that's going to matter now. But no, that is not what I would do. I'm probably going to tell you that after I see your resume, but I don't know if you took advantage of the bump. By the way, folks, I want to reiterate, the resume reviews are only $100 until we hang up. So, if you want to get in there, take advantage of this, because after this, it's going to go back to the prices that I showed you, the $1,000. All right. Steven, I know this isn't a question. I would not send 2 resumes to the same employer. They will not like that. And you need to be careful. And even if you're applying to different departments and different positions, just be careful. Some employers are going to be really put off by that. They're going to want you to be consistent. Okay, Angela Thomas. Okay. Angela Thomas, how are you? It seems a new name to me. How do you offset an unusual job title? Although I have a small writing services company for years, I'm known through the media as a professional psychic. I wasn't going to laugh. I'm also an adjunct professor. I'm not sure. Is it that you don't? You know what? I wish I had more information. Is it that you don't want to use psychic as your title? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to answer that. All right. If you want, Angela, just head to the bottom. Put in, if there's more info that I can help. I mean, I want to answer your question, so just give me some more info so I can give you a good answer. Just zipping down here, folks. I love that you're talking to each other. Here we go. I think I got it. Stephanie Delaney got another one in there. I have had better stats for ATS submissions. Great. Yeah, but we worked that resume, didn't we? I have you to thank for... Thank you. You assisted me significantly getting my resume down to 2 pages, and the content made a huge difference. Thank you. Okay, Stephanie's a boot camper, and she got in on one of the previous packages and paid for the resume review or whatever, and we did that. And folks, I've seen a lot of resumes in my day, and we have tested this. The formatting works. The structure and the sentence structure that I give you works. And believe me, the resume is not if you think that the resume is about your work history, we really need to fix the way you think about a resume. The resume is your vehicle to market yourself. That's what it does, okay? You control the narrative of what goes into that resume. And you might think, well, I do this, and so therefore I have... There are so many things you can do to a resume to completely adjust how you want somebody to think about you. And that's what people don't do. Your career profile, your career highlights, the other things throughout the resume completely control the narrative. It is the most prime real estate on the piece of paper. It is your billboard in neon lights. You can set all my biases within seconds. So, you know, we talk about that 6-second thing, 5-second thing. You guys have probably seen my resume about how to get your resume noticed in 5 seconds guaranteed, or you might have watched my 3 secrets to get your resume noticed webinar. I visually take you through what happens. That top portion of your resume controls how I read the resume. It tells me about you. It makes me plant an impression about you. It makes me look for things differently. So you control the narrative. That's what people are missing out on. And we can, you know, make sure that the right keywords and all that stuff are in there. But believe me, the resume is a marketing document. It is not a work history. So, I mean, it does include work history, but that's not the goal of the resume. The goal of the resume is to get you job interviews. So keep that in mind. And Stephanie, I'm loving that. And I'm loving that the ATS submissions are better because we've optimized these things for ATS submissions. Actually, okay, well, hold on. This is really good. Okay, Charles is a boot camper. He's asking Stephanie if she's having better success. Stephanie is program management, project management, account management, those kinds of things. Think about the generalities of the keywords in her background and the specificity of the keywords in your background. But that's, you know, I mean, if anything, you know, Stephanie's ability to get through the ATS should be more difficult than people with narrow focuses. Okay, so folks, does that make sense? The more general your background and the more competition that you have with the people who do your function, the harder it's going to be to get to the ATS. Stephanie's probably got one of the worst, I mean, no, she's awesome at her job, but probably one of the worst profiles to put their resume into an applicant tracking system, and she's senior. So I'm loving that I'm hearing that. We did work her resume, Charles, like we worked yours, and, you know, I'm glad to hear that. But, you know, I think the good thing, Charles, is that we're going to do our coaching call. We're going to talk through some of that stuff. All right. Sorry if I digress there, but these are little nuances. I hope there was some takeaway there that you've got to be extra careful. The more, you know, project managers, business analysts, researchers, all the accountants, you know, finance people. These are very general titles versus data analysts or technologists or whatever that can get more narrow with the things that they work on. I think this might be this is a good one. Gypsy Rivers, I think this is a question. Gypsy has a telephone interview for a part-time job and expects them to ask, why do you want to work part-time? And I think you might have asked me this on the YouTube comment somewhere, or maybe it was a live office hours, I can't remember. But for all of you that have like little weird schedules, or you need to work night shifts, or you need to work weekends, or you need to work odd hours, or whatever, if that's odd for your position, no, just what I would do, and I'm just guessing, is I would just explain why this is the reason I need to work these hours. That's all. And if it's part-time, are you going to school? Do you have another part-time job that you love? Do you have a volunteer work that you do that you absolutely love and do not want to sacrifice, or whatever? I mean, it's okay. Laura, I hope so too. I hope so too. In the meantime, folks, there are, by the way, actually, and this is for Laura and for anybody else. The boot camp right now is $500, and if you within the next several minutes, if you want to get the resume review, it's $100, or the resume review or the coaching session. I have other programs on the Mile Walk Academy that you can enroll in that have various prices. And you can go to the milewalkacademy.com. I don't talk much about this, but they're all out there. If you get into one of those other ones, like if you get in the resume program or you get in the interview program, those cost less than the boot camp, but you get 3 months of coaching, ongoing coaching in my Career Coach Casts. You also get to attend a boot camp session for your respective training. So if you guys can't afford the boot camp, but you want to enroll in the resume course, which is a couple $100 less, you get the resume course and the workshop that I've recorded for you, but you also get to come to the boot camp marketing session. So you get all the stuff on LinkedIn, you get all the stuff on the cover letters, you get all the stuff on the marketing, you get all that, because I feel that that's appropriate to give someone who invests in my resume training a piece of the boot camp. You get one session. If you buy the interview course, you get the interview session. It's like an extra workshop. And you get your 3 months of training. So, and some people, a couple $100 matters. Some people just don't have any money. That's cool too. I love that you're here taking advantage of the other stuff that I give. But keep in mind, there are other opportunities on the Mile Walk Academy to engage and get more access to me. And the least expensive way, aside from zero cost and doing this, is to enroll in my $19 a month ongoing career coach cast. That's career development and job searching once a month, every 4 weeks. We do a live session, and you get access to all the archives, which is like more than a year's worth, and you get all the future stuff that as long as your membership is active. So that's another way, and people kind of come in and come out of that, based on their situation. And some of them, we just find them a job and they say, hey, this is great, see you later. That's fine. Others, they love to continue and grow their career and ask me questions through the portal. So by the way, I'm the one that responds to the questions. So when you ask a question, there's me and there's Kara. I answer all the content related questions. So if you got a question about your job search, your life, whatever, I answer it. No one else answers that. Kara will help me with all the technical issues. I can't find this, I can't find that, and those kind of things. And we both get the emails at support@milewalk.com. So anyway, that's just a little something that I don't really talk about it much, but it's there. So if you want to engage in some stuff and you got $19 a month, you can get into that. Robert, I know I got your nice email too. Hey man, take advantage of this stuff and leverage it to try to get that great job. All right. Oop. Where am I at? Oops. Okay, wait, sorry. When I touch this silly pad. Okay, Alpha, Pat, you're here. Cool. Okay. Pat's a boot camper. We love Pat. Pat's a boot camper, and Pat is active on the Facebook group, folks. That's another thing. We got people in the Facebook group referring each other to employers getting jobs. Come on, man. This is good stuff. Zombie review? Rory, email me, and I will help you because you have a special deal because I gave you a free course. Oh, Kara said, see, Kara knows what I'm going to say. Okay. Carla, welcome. I don't know your name. I'm in the middle of a job search. Awesome. I recently moved to another state. Okay. My resume is outdated. I'm assuming your resume is only outdated because the address is outdated. Any suggestions for a new resume? Carla, I'm not entirely sure. I would just update my city or my town or whatever, or your region or whatever is appropriate. Everybody's a little different. I like putting the address on the resume. Not everybody does. But I'm assuming that's what you mean. If that's not the case, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Mr. Racer, RT from Denver, Ida, how are you? Sue! Okay, Sue. You're welcome, Sue. Love having you. Folks, see what I do. By the way, okay, one more time. when you get this, for all of you guys who, you know, are mentioning you can't swing the boot camp, I totally get it. If you get this book, for $7 to shipping and handling, there's an interview intervention support group that I have. It's highly active. It's awesome people. There's, I don't know, maybe not quite 300 people in there, maybe 260, 270. I don't know exactly. And every week I give them free opportunities for free training. I'm constantly upgrading people. They get discounts on stuff, but you got to get in the community and you got to contribute to the community. You know, that's helpful. So Sue's in there. I appreciate it. Sue's in the training. We get you upgraded. Michelle Middleton, you get to coach a call because you're awesome too. All right. And just, right, both of you, just support at malwalk.com and we will get you scheduled. And I'm starting to catch my breath. Actually, believe it or not, now that we're starting the boot camp, it's easier for me to conduct the boot camp than it is all this hoopla that we do up into it. All right, Trisha, good to see you. You're welcome. Neha, great for you. F and Truth, glad you made it. Thanks, Maya. Gary, email us. Actually, Gary, you got the link to the boot camp. Just go and enroll. That's all you need to do. Trisha, see you later. We'll see you in the Facebook group. Okay, Laura, this is a great question because this is tough. I'm interested in setting up informational interviews. How do I approach strangers on LinkedIn? So what I would do is anytime you guys are looking to open up any kind of relationship. And so the textbook answer is, if I want to build a relationship with you, so what do I do to build a relationship with you, Laura? I give you something. You take something from me. Totally good. I love that. Actually, I don't worry about what I'm going to get into. I give you something. Download, videos, live office hours, whatever. Okay? So it's the same kind of thing when you're networking. And I actually did a video called Business Networking, How to Build Professional Relationships. And I show you mechanically what to do, how I would go about doing that. But when you open up those connections, you want to make sure that you are offering the person something. It's always better to offer something. So, you know, when you connect on LinkedIn, you're automatically offering their network. By the way, I'm sure she's not on here. Jill Fox is, Jill and I, we share a, I think she'll probably love that I'm saying this. She and I, we share a Facebook group. We both are in a program by another trainer. And Jill did a video on LinkedIn on how to basically, oh man, I'm not going to get the title right, but I just watched it. It's like within the last couple of weeks. If you look up Jill Fox, she talks about social media and some of this other stuff. And she talks about the openers for LinkedIn and how you're going to get crushed. You're going to get absolutely crushed if you use these standard openers like, hey, I see we're in the same industry, let's connect. Hey, I always looking to connect with like-minded people. Hey, I would like to offer you my network, and so on and so forth. It's very hollow. It's not, and what I bonged a guy the other day. He sent me one of those. I am an open networker. I accepted it. Within 5 minutes, I got a sales pitch. And I emailed him back and I just said, hey man, that's bad form. I'm happy to lend you my network, and I'm an open networker and you can see that. But, I just removed the connection. I think I probably removed 2 connections in the last year. So, you want to make sure that if you're going to use LinkedIn, you're going to reach out to people in a targeted fashion. You're going to offer them something valuable. Hey, I am looking to build my... It's okay to be transparent, but just make sure you offer something good. I'm looking to expand my network. I wanted to, I noticed your background. I want to develop relationships with people like you, however you want to warm it up. I wanted to share this with you. Whatever it is you can share, something you've written, something you've done, something you have, something you gotta give first. That's just a much better way to open up the relationship. And it's always better if you're doing this every single month. You have a little quota for yourself where you're, you know, hitting, you know, 10, 15, 20 people a month. Not everybody's going to connect back with you. And you're building your network over time and you're nurturing it over time. The video teaches you how to do that mechanically. But, you know, when you approach them, you have got, and, you know, you got to have something of value to them, something of value. So, you know, that's my message. You got to offer something first. And it's okay to share what you need in exchange, but I don't like to do that in the first email. I'd like to build the relationship, see if they're receptive. Say, hey, you know, I hope, you know, if you wouldn't mind me asking, and so on. Okay. MV, frustrated you're receiving the infamous overqualified response? Go watch my overqualified video. Go watch my overqualified video. Folks, I teach you how to reposition that response to kick it back to open up different options in the interview or in the email. Wait, if you get it immediately through. So when you get overqualified, there's multiple scenarios. You sent a message in. They said you're overqualified. I have a script for you. You're in an interview. They say you're overqualified. I have a script for you. You have the interview. You're done. They message you. They say, hey, you're overqualified. I have a script for you. Go watch the video. It's like 2 minutes. But it's out there. Just search my YouTube channel for overqualified. There's actually probably a couple of them. One of them's a clip out from one of my coaching sessions. Crystal Mullenix, this is a great one. I get this a ton. Do you have any suggestions for applying to government jobs? That process seems unique. It is, what's the word I'm looking for? Long. I don't. I actually don't. Meaning I don't have any other different suggestions other than all the other suggestions that I've given you. I mean, just to be flat out honest, my only suggestion about government jobs is, you know, kind of make sure your background's clean. And if there's any issues that way related to that, you want to open them up front. You want to brace for a lengthy response, like a lengthy process, long to get back to you, long to take you through, and all that good stuff. And then clearances and any other background checks seem to be longer. Okay, F in truth, you asked me this. I did respond, but I did not give you a full enough answer. So I'm glad you called me on this. Asking me the difference between tell me about yourself and what makes you unique. The tell me about yourself is, it's just, first off, it's not a great interview question from an interviewer's standpoint. It is gold if you are the job seeker. I know that may sound counter. Check out my Tell Me About Yourself video, and you can check out all the other trainers' Tell Me About Yourself video. Everybody's got one. So, you know, you want to walk them through your background, but the thing that I want you to do is I want you to drill down on what makes you in alignment. So what we just got done talking about, what makes you right in alignment with what they need at the moment. So tell me about yourself, boom, 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 drop down, hit them hard. Go on, drop down, hit them hard. What makes you unique is the stuff only you can do. Okay, so whether it's, you know, the level of depth and the range of your repertoire, whether it's things that you've seen and experience you can draw from, things you can build, architect, whatever it is, that's different than everybody else. So it's thinking about, if I had to measure myself against everybody else that's out there. So we trainers have to do that, right? There's a lot of people who, okay, wait, let's do it this way. This might be a little bit easier for you to follow. Okay, so you're interviewing me right now. You all are. You're my community. I love you. Every time I utter a word or scratch my nose, you're interviewing me. Okay, I'm constantly wanting to make sure that whatever I do, say, whatever, we're building a relationship. I'm gaining your trust. I love you and I want you to love me back. Okay, not everybody's going to do that, but that's what I go for. Because I want to keep you in my community. I want to help you. But there are about 1,000 other trainers that I can think of that do the same thing that I do. Okay? And on the outside, You could say, well, he's a career coach and she's a career coach and all that good stuff. But I'm going to connect with you uniquely for some things that I bring to the table or the ways I do things that other trainers don't. Okay? So I would say I've got a lot of years of experience. I've seen an awful lot, and I've got data up the wazoo. So I'm giving you evidence of the fact when I'm giving you something. Most of my programs, there's a huge amount of structure and framework. You have everything you need. A lot of other trainers, they offer bits and pieces. That's okay. It's different. Some trainers, they only want a subscription model. That's totally cool. But there's a different element. And then the way I teach you, everything is based on, actually, I don't know if you know this, and the people in the programs can see this. Everything that I teach you is not based on job searching, career development. It is based on human behaviors, psychological stuff, sociological stuff, and all that good stuff. And then all of the things that I uniquely teach you related to job searching are built on that. So if you've watched 3 Keys to Ace Any Job Interview, the whole thing is about communication. I just teach you how to do that in a job interview setting. So that's my style. That's what I bring to the table. I have lots of years of experience. I could draw on that. Give you the book, right? Trainers ain't giving you free books. Guess what? Next year, the boot camp's going to be free. It's not free today, but a year from now, I mean, I'm moving the free line. That's what makes me unique. I give you more. I give you more. That's what makes me unique. Okay. What I just said to you, you need to figure that out for whatever it is that you do and all the people you're competing against. You need to be able to talk about what you bring to the table that no one else does. And that employer is either going to love you for it or not. But it isn't, to tell me about yourself, you could mix that in. And the way I do this is, so I teach you this, the way I do that is this. And that's what makes me unique. And then you can go on. But they can be separate, but you can meld them. But I hope that illuminates kind of what I'm speaking about there. But I was really kind of rolling off the tongue there. Okay, hope that helps. Wait, I think Venkata, we got a question here. I'm currently not working. When I approach references, ex-supervisors for a job, there might be a relevant job or may not be. If they offer a job, if we have to compromise on salary and location, and if the job is relevant, if we do not take it up, we lose our credibility. Or if I take up a job, it doesn't look good. If I quit after a few months, it doesn't look good. How would you approach this? You know what, Venkata, I'm not really. Well, first off, you're welcome for the wonderful session. I love this stuff. I mean, I go all day. I'm not sure if I completely understand your scenario. It sounded like, I understand you're not working, and you're approaching old bosses and your references, and I think you're trying to evaluate whether there's an opportunity to work with them. I think if I understand this correctly, you're not working, you're approaching your old contacts, which you should be, and if they don't give you, if they offer you an opportunity, if it doesn't suit your needs, based on your requirements and all that stuff and the amount of money you need to make and all that great stuff, it's okay to pass and thank them profusely for the opportunity. If you do take it, that has to be something you decide for yourself based on your current situation and your needs. So everybody in this community has different situations, right? Some people are unemployed. I get it. You need to get a job to put food on the table. Other people, they're kicking tires. Other people call me. They want one-on-one coaching. They're willing to pay high fees to get the tailored approach. Everybody's different, but you have got to choose for yourself what it is that is acceptable to you. I do not think you lose credibility if you have to turn something down that isn't appropriate for you, or you just can't make it work with your needs. I think it is not the act of turning it down. It is the way in which you turn it down that leads to issues. I hope that helps. So how you do what you do. Kara is telling me. Yeah, okay. So I hope that helps. I'm gonna take a question. For those of you who are existing students of mine. So maybe you've spent, you know, 200 and whatever dollars in the interview course. The way my boot camp works, actually, by the way everything in the Mile Walk Academy works. If you've spent $1 and you want to trade up to something else career related, you get to trade in all your dollars. So if you got an interview course and you paid whatever, $200 or $300, whatever it was at the time you purchased it, you pay the difference. So if you paid $297 for the interview course, you paid $200 to get all the boot camp stuff. That's it. You email me, I send you a link, you add the $200, we're all good. Okay? If I gave you a free course, there are some different things. So, you know, you can't take a $300 free course that I gave out of the goodness of my heart and expect me to give you a coaching call, the boot camp, a year's worth of coaching and all that for $297. So there's some different applications of that. But it doesn't matter. Just email me at support@milewalk.com and I'll help you. But if you paid something, you paid $100 or you bought the do-it-yourself job searching program for $97, the boot camp costs you $400. And right now you can get the boot camp and a resume review for the extra $100. That's how that works. I think somebody asked that, but Kara just mentioned that to me. All right. Sue, yep, big thumbs up. Mr. Racer Rex, great. I'd love to have you. Love to have you, man. Looking forward to it. Gary, you're welcome. Oh, man. Gary, you're welcome. And can I, you know what? Heather, I don't know if you're still on here. So, folks, I love Heather. Heather, if you're here, I love you. Professor Heather Ostern, if you have not checked out her channel, no, wait, I love you and I want you to hang with me, but Heather's awesome and she's a career coach and I try to give her props and shoot my people over to her too. And if you think I'm nuts, you don't believe in the abundance of this world, man. There's like 7 billion people. All I care about is this. I'm helping all the people I can help. I'm giving you everything I got. I'm doing crazy stuff to make my things and my products available to you. I show up every week, and that's me. And Heather's awesome. She's got great videos that come out every week. I would definitely subscribe to her channel, and she's going to have a different take on stuff. Cool. How great is that? You got to look, see, maybe you might like her style better. I don't know. But either way, and by the way, I don't love all the trainers' stuff. I think some of them are nuts. But Heather's not nuts. And so check her out. And things on abundance. I mean, I don't know if you caught it, but when I said the boot camp's going to be free at some point, it is. Because the way that I'm moving, I'm just moving the free line. The book's free now. I'm giving courses away for free. I'm giving other stuff for free. I mean, like, what I want is I want a completely different way of engaging you. And a lot of this stuff, look, I gave you something I can probably charge a whole bunch of money for. But in my opinion, teaching you how to allocate your time during a job search gets you on the straight and narrow. But you know, I don't want you worried about that. You got a lot of other things to worry about. So that's why I give this stuff to you for free. So, and it's also a way for you to get to know me better and my philosophies and, you know, whether I know what I'm talking about. So I would, Heather, I don't know if you're still here, man, because if you're here, man, that's really cool because you put that in about an hour ago. You know, I love you and I hope you're doing great and you guys should check out her channel. Okay. NW8000, which post am I replying to? I'm not sure what the question is. Maybe Kara caught that. Rory, yeah, we'll email you back and forth. I'll explain all your options. F and truth, I know. I have Fanny, raise you, Fanny. Okay, cool. Wait, ooh, did I skip something? Oh, I hope I didn't miss it. Sorry, guys. Every now and again. Here we go. Oh, Diana, great question. Yes, for international organizations where you often cannot network in, then what I would do is, Diana, have you seen my actually it's really kind of a 3-step applicant tracking system resume beater, I have a video, folks, for maybe Carrot, maybe we can toss this one up. I have a video out there with 3 tools that I recommend if you have to put your resume in an applicant tracking. So I don't want you to. I don't want you to. If you have to, I got a video, gives you 3 tools. One of the tools is a webinar that I give you. Another one is my resume content builder booklet. So I give you a free, are you ready for this? Resume template. I give you instructions on how to hit every section, the career profile or summary or whatever you want to call it, highlights, the thing. I literally give you instructions and then I tell you, put these things in there. Then the back of the booklet, I tell you the 14 things that you need to include in your resume stories and in your interview stories. And you can use this it's kind of a journal-like element to it to stimulate your thinking about past history. And also, it's something everybody should have for every moment of their life as they go through their life, as they go through their career. These are the 14 things you want to capture about every project you do. Then you don't have to think back about it when you're filling out your resume. And when you're going for promotions, you got the data. Diana, go watch that video. It's on YouTube. And it's, I'm holding up a booklet like this and whatever, and it says something like my 3-step ATS or, oh God, I'm always thinking these fancy, something about my 3-step ATS beater for your resume or something like that. 3-step resume beater for your ATS or something like that. That's what I would do. I hope that helps. Sierra Salt, love this question. Actually, wait, I just got done going on about Heather, Professor Heather Austin. I'm going to give you an answer, Sierra, and then I also want you to check out 2 videos. Wait, so I'll just mention this now. I have a video out there that is this one trick makes your college resume stand out. For those of you that are recent college graduates, sorry, Kara's beating me. Recent college graduates or new graduates, check that video out because that one has my collegiate resume template. It's free. You can download it, and it's optimized for people with less experience. So this one trick can make your college resume stand out. Kara, can we dump that in the chat? Heather, who I just mentioned, did a video like last week, I think, about same thing. About if you have little or no experience, how do you fill in your resume? So Sierra Salt, I would check out both of those videos. The trick is you want to make sure that even as a college graduate with little experience, you still can put a summary up top that controls the narrative, and it really highlights who you are as a person, as a student. If you have internships or volunteer work or whatever. But check that video out because I lay that out for you. Actually, I would just do that. And same kind of thing applies for the cover letter. Same kind of thing applies for the cover. I would check those videos out. Both mine and Heather's, I think will really help. Oh, Kara put it right there. Thank you for that. Tell Daniel the autofocus is on my camera. See, how nice is that? All right, wait, folks, 1:22. All right, I'm with you. 2 hours, 22 minutes. All right, we're going to go to 1:30. 1:30, we still got 70 people. This is unbelievable. Listen, do me a favor. If you're loving this, click the thumbs up button. If you want to get in the boot camp, get in because we're pulling this down. The little bump offer, the 100 thing, when I click off, first thing I'm going to go do is go and take that offer off, the bump offer off. So make sure you can get in on that. If you're on the fence, just get it. We'll sort it out later. But just make sure you grab it. The other thing is the boot camp starts tomorrow, but you can get it anytime. And if you have questions about the other programs that I offer, maybe you just want a sliver of the boot camp, you can check out the Malawak Academy or email me at support@malawak.com. Let me know your questions. I read all my emails, so I hope that helps. Let me, Kara, beat me if anything is wrong. We'll hang on for 7 more minutes, and then I got to go because I got to get ready for my boot campers. All right. MV, it says living in Puerto Rico, trying to get remote work at home and being rejected by not being in the continental U.S. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if, you know, you need, it says being in a U.S. territory and it's getting hard. I'm not sure if I'm assuming you're a citizen. I would refer you to the video I'm about to release about the remote stuff. Gary, you don't need to worry. I'll put your package on hold. No problem. You've been really nice in communicating, and I know your dad's going through a lot of stuff right now. Lucy, you're welcome. Ooh. Shoot. Crystal. Extension to the government question. Do you know a good source or person to connect with that may have advice? You know, I'm not sure. I actually, Crystal, what I would say, you're awesome and I appreciate you taking my, you're welcome. Wait, and not to sound funny, I hope you guys know this. It sounds ridiculous, but I work really hard to give you guys good, high quality stuff. But I am one person, and I have one other full-time person helping me with Kara, and we've got some freelancers. And I try to get all the major issues, and I try to give you all kinds of videos and webinars and these live office hours and all the stuff to make it fully covered. But I definitely I have not created the solutions for all the different issues that you guys face. And I know this government issue is one of them. And honestly, Crystal, what I would do, I don't know anybody that I would say, hey, that person's an authority on government positions, but I would probably, how you found me, you went to YouTube, you popped in, you know, your issue, how to find government jobs, you know, how to navigate through the mess that is government jobs, whatever the proper search term is, will likely bring up somebody who talked about this, and I would check that out. I have no issue, you know, recommending you do that. You know, as much as I love for you to get all your insight from me, I know I can't support you on every little thing. So I hope that helps. Okay, here, can I say that? Tried your resume technique like numbered achievement helped me in getting 6 offer letters in 2 months. So awesome. 6 offer letters. I'm like, didn't you like want to pick one? How to be good in salary negotiation. I've got salary negotiation videos out there. There's multiple videos that I give for free. It's not nearly as detailed as my boot camp, but they're good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Nice W75, you're welcome. And Sierra Salts, yeah, how to negotiate salary after a job offer. I even give you a 1-page guide, a checklist to go through. I also have, what you guys also ought to, I know a lot of you guys hang out on YouTube and follow me there. Go to the Malawak blog. There's 400 articles on the Malawak blog that are there that I wrote before I ever started shooting videos. And I've got one in there like the 6 most important words in your salary negotiation. I got tons of stuff. If you just put negotiation in the search bar on the blog, a bunch of stuff's going to come up. A bunch of stuff. And you can breeze through it. It's pretty good. But I know a lot of people hang out and they check me out on YouTube. But, you know, I got a lot of other stuff that you can check out. Heather, yep, thank you. You're welcome. And, you know, it's awesome. And I'm so glad you're not nuts. She's not nuts, folks. All right. Rory, is there an average amount of time it takes to hear from jobs? If I haven't heard within a week or so, I usually assume that I won't. Different job to job. When do I give up hope? So here's what I say. Rory and everybody, and I'm not being funny, I mean this because you guys deserve it and you're worth it. Hope is not a strategy. It is not something that I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I want you to focus on what you can control. Your output, your content, and all that stuff. So Rory, when you put your resume in, or you know what I mean, or you're waiting to hear back from a company, you put the resume in, you follow up a week later, you try to use a different tactic. If you had to put it in the ATS, you try to go through the direct. You go 2 weeks more, so 1 week, follow up, 2 more weeks, follow up, 1 month, follow up, that's it, give up. That's what you can control, and I don't want you losing sleep. I want you to keep going. You got your targeted company list, you should be pecking through those in your priority order, but you submitted the application, give them a week, 2 more weeks, 1 more month, whatever that is. That's like 7, 8 weeks. And that's it. And then move on. And don't, and I want you to think like that. You know what I mean? They didn't deserve you. It doesn't matter. Go on and somebody else. You will be somebody else's treasure. Believe me. All right. Folks, 1 minute. Okay, listen, I've got to go. 2.5 hours. I love this stuff. And I really, really hope you've enjoyed it. I have loved every minute of this bootcamp mania and everything since we started last Thursday. And I hope you've enjoyed the masterclass. I'm going to leave it up for a week or so until I'm going to be in the bootcamp. We got a lot of stuff going on, and I know a lot of you want to enjoy it. I know I referenced it. I wanted to do this little Reader's Digest thing. Grab the workbook. Grab the book. If you can, get in the bootcamp because that's the deepest level that I can help you. And jump in now, because until I can click all this stuff off, then I'm going to go and I'm going to remove the little $100 offer. So for $597, you could have the whole boot camp, a year's worth of coaching, and either a call with me or a resume review, whichever you prefer. And if you want the call and the resume review, then it's only it's the $497 plus the extra $500 plus the $100. So it's $1,100 instead of $1,497. So I hope that helps. Love you all. Share it. Click the thumbs up. And one last thing, Live Office Hours is back August 29th because for the next 2 weeks, I'm slaving over my boot campers. All right. See ya. Take care. Be good.